guys, Sean C. Phillips here, and I want to try something a little different today. Today I want to do a video about basically the DVD, well, a lot of these places weren't even DVDs then, but I guess I'm going to call this the music and video stores of the past. And these are basically places where, like, basically every single one of them on the list are ones that I personally went to. It's basically just, you know, doing a video talking about them and seeing if any of you guys remember these specific ones, and, you know, to get comments and stuff from you guys about, you know, your memories of the stores, about some of the other stores that maybe I didn't go to, because I was on the East Coast when I went to all these places. So I'm sure there was places exclusively to the West Coast and places like that that I never got to go to. Now the first one on the list, now this one, I think I remembered finding out about this place because someone gave me a gift card to it. I was in school and I think it was one of those, like, when they had, you know, they just give random gifts and you, like, Secret Santa thing at school, and they give it, you know, you just basically unwrap it and you get whatever. And I think the Secret Santa gift I got from whoever it was a gift card to a store called Waxy Maxie's. I was thinking, what the hell was this place? And it was basically, I think I only went to it once. It was this one time when I had like a $10 gift card. And this is back, you know, maybe when I was in the second grade. I think back then it was just, you know, just CDs and tapes in this place. I don't even remember what I got. But I think I went back, you know, to go back again maybe a year later, and I remember it was being, you know, closed. And I don't know if there was more than one location of this place. This was like a standalone thing, or what this was. For a while I thought that it might have been the predecessor to the Wall and things like that, but I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. The next one was a place called Waves Music. And this was the first place where I remember hearing a lot about the parental advisory CDs. Now also a little bit about the look of the place. They had a really cool, when you went in, I remember seeing this, I think I saw it in two different malls. One was the Towson Center, and the other one was Annapolis Mall. And it had these wavy glass like this. Like, the glass was really cool, the front. And it was, I think it was one of the first, it was basically, when Towson Town Center was around, there was this store and then two other music places and DVD places, well, VHS places in the mall. But Waves, as I remember, I used to always get some CDs in there. And the people in there were always like, now to my parents, are you aware that this is a parental advisory CD? I remember this was the first place that I remembered really hearing about this, you know, the parental advisory thing. And it was, I don't know if, you know, Waves was really big on that, but out of everywhere I ever went, this place talked about it more than ever. They even went into saying, well, this is a little bit adult for him. I don't know if this is appropriate. I remember they would go on and on about it. The next one is the Wall. Now, the Wall eventually became FYE. But the Wall had a really cool thing they used to do, which, you know, I never, you know, took advantage of this thing or never used anything with it. But they would put on anything you bought a lifetime guarantee sticker. And I'm sure some of you guys remember that. They would stick on to the actual thing. I think they would open up what you bought. You know, they would actually open up the CD case and put this lifetime guarantee thing on the physical CD or cassette thing. And I don't know if they had VHS or DVD at the time. I think they put it on the VHS and the DVDs. I don't know if the Wall was around when DVDs came out. I think it might have ended right around that time. But it had this lifetime guarantee sticker. So I always kind of thought it would be funny if somebody had something from the Wall and it broke. Where the hell would they take it now? You know what I mean? They'd have to, like, find, you know, the owner, the original owner of the Walls. And I don't know. And the other one was Camelot Music. Now this one, I don't remember that as much. I remember it was in a couple different malls, and I think it was more music than DVDs. And I mean, I keep saying DVDs, but most of these places were VHS then. But I think it was more, because DVDs came out in 1997, and some of these places were defunct then. Most of them survived. This was about 2006 when most of these places were gone. But Camelot Music, as I remember, was in a couple malls. I think it was a little bit expensive. There was also Coconuts. I always thought it was like a funny name. I remember that eventually became FYEs, or that got bought out by FYEs. And Coconuts was pretty good. It was a little bit like Saturday Matinee, which basically was more movies, just a little section of music, but more into the movies. And they had pretty decent selection. And this is one of my favorite ones. Two of my favorite ones next was Virgin Records. And they went out of business in the last, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. They all closed. I think maybe not even that long ago. But the location that I always went to is every time I would go to Florida, it was in downtown Disney. I'd always look forward to going to Virgin. I mean, looking back, they were very overpriced with a lot of their stuff. They're kind of like Barnes & Noble with their DVDs and Blu-rays. When you go in there and your kind of jaw drops because of how expensive some of this stuff is. But I mean, Barnes & Noble, you can get a lot of obscure stuff. And if you don't like dealing with the internet, you can get a lot of stuff there. But I don't know, it was pretty expensive for some stuff. Of course, the cool thing about Virgin Records at the time, years back, was that you could get imports there. And they used to have imports and, you know, really rare and hard to find stuff, and stuff that you really would only find there. And, you know, especially before the days of really ordering on the internet, you could find everything in this place. And the other one that I loved was Tower Records. And Tower Records was all over the place. There was some in Maryland, they were in New York, all over the place. I think they filmed in Tower Records in one of the ones in New York in the I Am Legend movie. So if you want to see Tower Records, I went to that location. I remember liking that one a lot. You can see that. And Tower was basically magazines, books, music, DVDs, because it was around for DVDs. It closed, they might have been 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Tower, though, was great. I mean, they were a little expensive, but I remember like they were some of the first places where I bought Troma movies. I think I got some of the earliest Troma movies I ever got from Tower Records. And I got a lot of the obscure horror movies that I got. I found a lot of stuff at that store. That's definitely one that I miss. And I think they still have their website around. But, you know, with all these places, you know, I always order stuff online, and, you know, I find stuff occasionally at Best Buy. But there was something really cool about being able to go to these places years ago and find things there. It's like the whole art of shopping for these kind of things and finding these in stores is pretty much dying. And that's kind of why I wanted to do a video about it, just to, you know, I haven't done a thing talking about this kind of stuff, and just talk about, you know, really the things that I grew up with and the things that I used to really like, and just how kind of strange it is just to see. And, you know, if people that are older than me, I'm 26, but people who are older than me have probably seen so much more go. But the next one is Blowout Video. Now, Blowout Video was another one that I used to go to when I went to Florida. I know they had a location in New York, in Times Square. I think it was right underneath of the MTV studios. I don't know how many locations they had, but I know in Florida they had it in an outlet center. And this is the early years when I went to Florida on vacation with the family, probably 96, 97, something around that. Probably closed 99. And this place, I absolutely loved Blowout Video. It was one of the first places where it was all video, all kinds of stuff. I used to find really weird things there. I remember some of the stuff I bought, like I can remember what I bought like the first time there. I think it was Serial Mom and Congo and a couple things like that. And, you know, the prices, when you look back, weren't, I think the prices were kind of average, though, to what they were back then. But it was another really cool place that's really just forgotten now. The next one is Media Play. Now, there weren't a ton of these stores. I used to have to drive, you know, I think it was in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania somewhere. We used to drive, me and my dad and brother used to always go out to this place. And I know it was around when the History of Beavis and Butthead came out. You know, that came out to stores and then was pulled. If anybody remembers that, I have a bootleg of it. But I remember it was around during that time still. See, this is how I kind of remember when these places were around. But I remembered I used to go in there, and another place they had they were a really big store. They're kind of what I would, you know, kind of similar to the FYE Supercenters. There aren't too many FYE Supercenters, but they're really big FYEs where they're gigantic. Kind of similar to that. And they had a really big CD section, a really big movie section. It was one of those kind of places where, especially before the internet, you could find everything there. They pretty much got everything. Same with Troma movies. And I think they were owned by Suncoast. It was kind of like the Supercenter Suncoast in a way. The next one was Saturday Matinee. And I know a couple of them are still around. When I drove cross country, when I moved, I think in Oklahoma, a mall has a Saturday Matinee. And Saturday Matinee was another one where I remember the one I used to go to always consistently put out movies by mistake early. So I used to love to go to this certain Saturday Matinee. I would find stuff out as much as 3 weeks early at this place. And the prices were not really that bad. I remember finding all kinds of stuff. But that was another really good place. You know, I preferred it to Suncoast. And Saturday Matinee was around a long time. It might have been around before Suncoast or right around the same time. Because I remember going to Saturday Matinee as a kid, wanting to get movies back, back the way things used to be with movies is they used to come out to VHS. When they came out to rent, they'd come out to rent first. Then you'd have to wait about half a year to usually around a year before you could actually buy the movie. If you wanted to buy it, right when it came out, it was around $100 to buy it because you were paying the full retail price. So I remember that's half the reason too why rentals, used to be like Blockbusters and places like that really did so well, was because the only way to see these movies then was to get them, rent them, and then you'd have to wait a number of months before you could actually get them. But Saturday Matinee was another one that was really a good one. And like I said, there's still occasionally you'll find a few of them around. I think they're owned by FYE as well. But, a lot of the stores, when they keep the names, like Sam Goody, Saturday Matinee, if they're still around, they usually keep the platform of the store, keep it the same kind of stock, order the same kind of stuff they had before. Because, FYE has a real specific, only orders real mainstream stuff. But places like that kind of got a little bit, different things. And now some of the other ones, Record Town, which was one I occasionally went to. Don't remember it too well. And then Hollywood Video, of course, that recently closed in the last few years, was a rental place. But for renting, I used to like it a little better for renting horror movies than Blockbuster because they used to get the really obscure, different stuff. I did have a really shitty problem, though, with Hollywood Video when I rented the movie Dolls. I'm just going into little stories about these things, but I remember renting the VHS of Dolls, and something was wrong with the tape. And I remember putting it in my VCR. This was a long time ago, and it crapped the VCR and I broke it. For some reason, I was being stupid. I put it in another VCR in the house. I ended up breaking, I think, 2 VCRs, trying to play the damn Dolls thing. Now, this is crazy to say, now Borders is gone. So Borders is on this list, and that really only closed a few months ago. And I used to like Borders. When I had in the beginning, when it came between Borders and Barnes & Noble, I always liked Borders books better. I liked their movie section better. I'm talking about in the beginning. Over the years, Borders became very overpriced. They got rid of the cult section. They used to have a great cult section that was really big. They had all kinds of obscure, something weird movies. It would order all these kind of things. And then through the last couple of years, it kind of just went downhill. And I just about never got anything there. And, FYE is still around. It's not everywhere, but there's still occasionally you find one. I occasionally get stuff in there. Their prices are really not as bad as they used to be. And they're definitely trying to compete. Now, the last two are Sam Goody, which is another one that's still around, but it's owned by FYE. But you'll find a couple stores. There's one right in San Diego at the Horton Plaza Mall, which is a huge location, and the other one is Suncoast. And there's actually a couple of them around. I think there's only one in all of California. And I said to him, is this still officially Suncoast? They're like, no, it's FYE. We didn't change the name, but we wanted to keep the same, platform and keep Suncoast the same as much as we could. A lot of these stores, too, like Suncoast, and I think FYE and Saturday Matinee, and a couple of them used to sell action figures. And, when KB Toys closed, they were some of the only places you could find some of this stuff. And I remember a while, too, Toys R Us was looking like it may go. Luckily, it seems like they're doing better now. But anyway, though, I would love to hear what you guys think. I hope you guys like. This is a little different, but I thought it'd be kind of cool just to revisit and go over these places of the past. And, let me know, too, if there's any that I missed, or if there was any other interesting ones. And I'd love to see maybe you guys do some of these videos talking about some of your memories of these stores. And I may do this series on a couple other things, some places that are going on and things like that. But anyway, though, thanks a lot for watching, for subscribing. I'll see you guys later. Bye.